Hey guys, what's up? It's Darkmech here with another Gold Challenge Mode guide. Today we are pewing Grimrail Depot. It's a medium difficulty challenge mode, pretty much just due to the train carriage pulls and getting the second boss right. So what we do is we invis the first section. If you've got a rogue in your group, you can use the AoE stealth and still have your DPS and mana pots up. It does make a big difference, so if you do have a rogue in your group, give that rogue a cookie and make the most of them. So we run into the boss's room. Now normally I'd pull the overseer, but our hunter decided that body pulling was the special of the day. So what you're going to do is you're going to drag that overseer onto Borka and start the fight. Now right from the start here you can see that Rocketspark will put red circles under players' feet. This is called his target eliminator, and what you want to do is be the fuck away from those red circles. You can see that I was on the edge of 2. I thought I was going to be okay. I ended up getting hit, losing an arseload of HP and costing my healer mana. A bad tank is a bad tank. Now Borka will eventually cast a thing called Mad Dash as he did there. This will knock Rocketspark off the set of crates and stun him. Now this is going to be where you want to use your heroism. This is because when Borka knocks Rocketspark down, he takes double damage and is stunned. So what you want to do is use this chance to get as much DPS into Rocketspark as you can. You also want to make sure that you're not focusing down that overseer at the start, and you're just killing him with cleave off Borka. The only thing to really note with the overseer is that it'll do a charge. You just want to try and not point it at your party, or make sure that they get out of the way. Now something new added into the challenge mode is that Borka's slam will interrupt and spell lock you if you cast when the slam is hitting. Our healer actually got holy locked here, so you just need to be mindful of this mechanic and make sure you do have something to survive if this should end up happening to your healer. So to recap on this fight, you don't stand in the red circles, you make sure that if you DPS, you're moving out of the way of Borka's Mad Dash, and if you're a caster DPS or a healer, that you don't cast when his slam is about to finish. Another thing to note on this fight is that you want to try and kill Borka and Rocketspark as close together as possible. If you are going to kill one marginally first, make sure that it's Borka before Rocketspark. If Rocketspark dies first, Borka will go absolutely tits out and do insane damage. Now this is not to say that Rocketspark doesn't get his tits out too, but you can definitely cope for a few seconds a lot easier on Rocketspark going nuts than you can on Borka. So as you can see, we managed to kill them pretty much exactly at the same time. It pretty much was perfect. So once these guys are down, your healer can start a quick drink and you want to get up the ramp and onto the first Grimrail Bombarder. Now as you can see, they will throw bombs from above. They are the orange circles and you don't want to stand in them. You'll also notice that the Bombardier puts a rend on your tank. This does a fair amount of damage. It's not too bad when there's just one. When there is 2 or 3 on you, however, the damage does really ramp up. Now we pull the first one and get it to about 15% and then start moving, and our goal here was to try and get the second one up to the third one. Now just one thing for tanks to note here is you need to watch when you're leading them up. If you go around a corner too sharp, or even just for no good reason sometimes, they will drop aggro on you and go after one of your DPS. It is a pain in the ass, so you just need to be mindful of that. Now we get the second one up to the third one here and I die. I didn't have a massive cooldown up. If I did, I probably could have used it and lived, or if I was a better monk tank, I probably would have been okay too. But just a quick battle res, we're back onto it and we're getting the last Bombardier down. Some groups will do the single pull then drag the 2 up together, some groups will kill them one at a time, other groups will pull all 3 up together. You just have to do whatever works for your group. So when the last Bombardier is down, the gate's going to go up and you're going to want to have someone with a speed boost or a heroic leap to get ahead, skip the cinematic and get you into the first train carriage. Now the first train carriage, you will have 1 gunner and 3 infantry. Now the priority focus here is the gunner. You want to tank this facing away from your group as it will cast a thing called Shrapnel Blast. This is a frontal cone attack. It does a fucking lot of damage, so you don't want to stand in it. You can stun the Shrapnel Blast or just move out of the way. It's not a huge deal on this first pack as it's so easy to avoid, but when you hit the third carriage and you get 2 gunners in one pack, it becomes a little harder. So once you have the gunner down, you're going to want to drag the rest into the second train carriage. And what we do here is we pull the entire carriage. This means 3 infantry, 2 grenadiers, 1 boomer, 1 hulk and 1 cinderseer. Now in hindsight, a good monk tank would probably use Transcendence there. I however ran up and ran back like a huge derp and took a little bit more damage. The main mob to focus on or be aware of in this pack is the Hulk. The Hulk will get a buff called Getting Angry, and what you want to do is soothe, trank shot, shiv, etc. that buff off ASAP. If you don't, the buff will just keep going higher and higher and he will eventually kill your tank. You can see I end up dying because the Hulk got to 4 stacks and raped my face like a fat kid on an ice cream. If your tank or healer does die though, just start kiting back towards the first train. The respawn run isn't far, and it's one of the good things in this challenge mode where you can actually fuck up a few times and still manage to get gold due to that run. So once you've cleared out the second train carriage, you're going to want to start moving up to the third, and this is probably the most difficult part or most difficult pull in this instance. We are going to pull the first 2 packs in the third carriage. The first pack contains 2 infantry, 2 gunners and 1 grenadier, and the second pack contains 1 cinder seer, 2 boomers and 1 infantry. Now we use our Death Knight's army here to try and negate as much damage as we possibly can, and the idea that we were trying to go for was a frost trap on the bridge and to kite them into the second train carriage by slowing them and getting as much DPS into them before they actually got to us. This pull is quite high damage, and as you can see the army kind of held them up on the bridge. I keep trying to get them through the door via line of sight and I don't have much luck. I get hit with quite a few shrapnel blasts, as you can see here. I end up running around, I can't see anything on the ground and I die to a mortar shell. But again, I call for the group to start kiting back towards the first train carriage, and as I said, you do have room in this instance where if you do muck up, you start kiting backwards and you can still get through this. It's not necessarily clean, but you can still get gold. So as you can see, everything's dead by the time I get back, and we end up moving back up into the third carriage. Now we got a little bit unlucky here with the Hulk. He'd been padding up the top when I pulled the 2 packs, so we have to pull the Hulk into the third pack. Now the third pack has 2 cinder seers, 1 gunner, 1 boomer and 1 grenadier in it. It's not a problem pulling the Hulk in there. Again though, you need to be mindful that you are getting the Getting Angry buff off him. He actually gets up to like 3 and 4 stacks again, and I have to go kiting here. Just looking, I'm even missing buffs here. This was the second challenge mode that I tanked on a Brewmaster. I was pretty horrible. I was having to think about everything I was doing. Yeah, it's pretty painful to watch. It's even worse to be showing you guys, but at least I'm showing you a what can go wrong run, I suppose, and you can still come out and sort of smash the timer. So it's a real run, let's call it that. Again, in this pack you just need to be mindful of the shrapnel blast and the flame tongue. If you do miss a stun on the flame tongue as we did there, you just need to make sure you move out of it. So now we're on to the second boss in the challenge mode, Nitrogg. So we end up pulling Nitrogg at 6 minutes 32, just for a reference. Phase 1 is super easy. You pretty much don't want to stand in his Black Rock mortar cast, and you want to pew him to 60%. At 60% he pushes out and he takes off to his boss assault cannon at the other end of the train. It's in this next phase of this boss where you're either going to make up and save yourself a lot of time and most likely get gold, or you're going to waste a shitload of time and most likely miss gold. So each time you kill an elite mob in this fight, you'll be able to loot the corpse and use what they drop. Now the boomers will drop a thing called a Black Rock mortar shell, which you'll loot off the corpse, jump in a cannon and then be able to do 25% damage to Nitrogg's boss cannon. The gunners drop shrapnel, which you jump in a cannon and use to kill the elite mobs with. It is really important that you don't waste your shrapnel on the infantry mobs. Make sure you use it on the elite mobs, and make sure that your 2 DPS managing cannons save at least 1 round for the boss. Now the grenadiers will drop a grenade, and you can either loot and throw that at the boss cannon, at the elite mobs, or you can save it for Nitrogg at the very end. Now the first 2 adds that spawn will be a gunner and a boomer, and then in the third pack you will get another double boomer spawn. So that'll give us 3 Black Rock mortar shells for 75% damage to Nitrogg's cannon. So what we want to be able to do is break the boss out after we've done that third wave. Now the way that we do this is we have 2 DPS managing the cannons and 1 DPS full time on the boss cannon. Their goal is to do 25% by the time we've done the third wave. So what we do is we have our hunter sit on the boss cannon in melee range. Now the other reason that we have them sit in melee range is, as you can see there, the fire is up on the boss cannon. The reason for that is that our hunter was tunneling in melee range. What it means is the other sections will never be set on fire, and it means that we have free run and don't have to worry about standing in fire, or if we get suppressive fire, having nowhere to go. So as you can see here, Nitrogg's cannon is about to break. What I'm now doing is trying to gather all of the adds and get them in between the cannons. Nitrogg's coming over now. We are picking up the last of our shrapnel. You put Nitrogg in the middle of the cannons and you just blow him up. It is so easy if you've got two people in the cannons with shrapnel and Nitrogg at the end. So now we're going to move up to the slag cart and we're immediately going to go left. If you've got a speed boost or a roll or something, you'll be able to get through there without getting the debuff. If you don't, you can just wait for the right side to go on fire, wait for the left fire to despawn and then take the left side. Now what we do here is we pull this single Farseer. With the Farseer you really want to focus on trying to interrupt the Storm Shield. It is quite a quick cast, we do miss it there. You really want to try and interrupt that, and you want to make sure that you are moving out of the Thunder Zones, which they cast on the ground. You can see it there. So once that Farseer is down, we are going to set up to pull this whole last carriage. Now as a Brewmaster you can just pop an Ox statue in the middle, run in, gather them up, leg sweep and start whatever stun rotation you may have. I use the Serenity Breath of Fire cheese just to try and lock the Farseers and whatnot down for as long as I can. This pull you're going to get 7 loaders, 2 Farseers, 2 scouts and the captain. Now the captain does an AoE 360 cleave called Reckless Slash. You want to make sure that you're stepping out of that, and as a tank try not to drag it over your group. The scouts will cast the Arcane Blitz, which is the purple swirls that you see on the ground. You don't want to stand in them. We ended up popping Hero on this pack. The reason we probably did it was because we were a little bit nervous getting up and doing this on ults, but we really probably didn't need to waste Hero here. I don't think we probably could have lived without using it, and it would have meant that we would have had it for the last boss. I'm switching specs here. I did think that this would give me more single target DPS. I actually end up fucking it all up though, because Zuen has taunt on, and he pretty much just taunts and gets one-shotted, and there goes his DPS. Not my finest video moment, but I was still learning. So Skylord Tovra will engage once everything is dead, and the biggest thing to managing this fight well is the diffused energy that you see being cast there. It is that electric crap on the ground from her dragon. Now the easiest way that you can manage this is, you can see if you look at the train carriage now, it's broken into 3 sections. The easiest way to manage diffused energy is to have everybody standing in the one line as such. So if we were all standing on the rail that I am now, that would be where the diffused magic would go, or the diffused energy, sorry, would go, and we could just step into the middle. Stay in the middle, then the next one would go in the middle. It just makes navigating this fight a lot easier. Skylord will also cast traps on random people. You don't want to stand in them or be too close. If you are grouped up and someone stands in them, you will all get rootsed in place, or whoever's in that range will get put in place. Then you could land yourself in the middle of a diffused energy and you're not going to have a very good time. The other thing that Skylord is going to do is cast a spear toss. You want to make sure that you are avoiding that. It will take quite a large chunk of your HP off, and it will stun you in place for a couple of seconds. We could have certainly managed the diffused magic here a lot better than we did, but we do still end up absolutely smashing the gold timer. Well, not smashing, but we have like 43 seconds left on our gold timer by the time that she dies, so with all the screw ups that we had, we still managed to get gold fairly easily. So that's it guys, I do hope you've enjoyed the video, or at least laughing at me. If you have any questions, hit me up, and thank you very much for watching.